Let's talk about the last days of Doom and his battle with Galactus. So we see Victor Von Doom floating helplessly, half destroyed in space, when all of a sudden a ship arrives reading Doom's vitals, which are well below the threshold of survivability. He's freezing cold, and it's clear that he's been like this for quite some time, and Herbie asks Valeria how he could possibly be alive, but she tells him, of course, it's magic. Bringing him on board, Herbie tells Valeria that he's going to need a lot of work, and she just stares at her uncle helplessly, saying, look at what he did to you. Val heads to one of the closest places, and the only places left in the galaxy where she could take Doom in order for him to recover, which is the head of his old armor. Slowly but surely, Valeria and Herbie bring Victor back from the dead, and the first thing that he asks his niece is what happened. She explains it simply, that he lost. As Herbie accesses the memory core of the Doom Titan that they're in, they get to see his last battle. While Valeria double-checked all of Victor's statistics, and under normal circumstances, he should have been able to hold his own against Galactus. But he made an assumption, and he was a fool to act so quickly, and while Victor wants to know what happened to Valeria's father, she tells him that he was a fool to wait. Doom had assumed that Galactus was a universal constant, one that has been the same for billions of years and that would never change. He was then disabused of that notion. Valeria tells her uncle, Galactus broke your machine and then he broke you. After this, Galactus continued forward. The universe had never experienced the World Eater rampant and ravenous. Unfortunately, he had surrendered to madness. He had surrendered to his hunger. He went from planet to planet, devouring all. Societies collapsed. Whole civilizations were erased. Galactus ate world after world after world, until finally, he arrived at Earth. When Reed Richards had discovered at first what Galactus was doing, he decided to do what he does best, to solve the problem. He gathered all of Earth's heroes, all of Earth's villains, he strategized, planned, and solved for everything. He assembled an army, and they faced their great enemy. But Galactus destroyed them all. That was 2 years ago, and he left Earth nothing but a husk, an empty shell, and Valeria has been looking for her uncle ever since. Victor wants to know how Valeria survived when all else failed, but she reminded him that she's a lot like her uncle. Tells him that she was never seduced by the short-term satisfaction of victory, that she's always been way more concerned about survival, but Doom corrects her and tells her that Doom doesn't survive, Doom endures. Earth wasn't the last stand. The Guardians of the Galaxy turned into the Guardians of the Universe, and everyone who could fight did. Unfortunately, they fared no better than the defenders of Earth. Of all living things that measure their lives by normal means, only Valeria and Doom remain. While Doom says that he will need armor, she tells him that yes, he will, and she's built him one, but in order for him to use it, he's going to have to become something more. Earlier, when reviving Doom, she gave him 1% super soldier serum so that he would survive this process, as she hands him some celestial blood grafted onto human plasma. As far as his armor goes, Valeria crafted it of Uru, vibranium, and 3 cosmic cubes. Now she asks her uncle what he thinks. He tells her simply, Doom is pleased. However, Victor is still not quite ready yet. He still needs to know the rest. Still needs to learn Galactus's motive. Now, Valeria watches this battle take place from light years away. She tells her uncle of Galactus, the Eater of Worlds, battling against the judges of them, and tells him that it was terrifying. While seeing a god die isn't something that Valeria or Doom are unfamiliar with, seeing an entire pantheon slaughtered is something that's best left for the blind. Galactus was after a celestial device, a monstrous mother to a ultimate nullifier, an entire universe killer, and a universe creator, the death of one so that it could birth another. Galactus had grown tired of waiting for his role to witness the death of this universe and the birth of the next one. Upon this revelation, Valeria says that they have to stop him, and Doom tells her that they must try. Before they can get started, Victor warns her that Galactus will have his heralds, as he often does, to watch his back while he's feeding his machine. So the two devise a plan where Val will destroy the machine while Victor handles the molecule men. She just hopes that her uncle is strong enough, but Doom reminds her that even at his weakest, he is strong enough to face any foe. As his battle begins, what follows are the final words of Doom. See, for most, everything ends in regret. And regret usually leads to some peculiar questions. How did we get here? Where did it all go wrong? Could this have been prevented? And most of all, how did we not see this coming? People will argue that the right person at the right time could have prevented this, and while Doom understands the folly of this thinking, when the end comes, there's always a desperate what if. As a tyrant, a despot, and a ruler of men, Doom has often heard these questions that the damned so surely ask. They think that civilizations can be saved, that empires can be maintained. They don't understand the nature of the universe. Infinite finite and the endless end. Pray for miracles, and why would they not? Doom himself has performed no small number of them. They pray desperately for something to hold up that which is already desperately crashing around them. They pray for someone to save us, but you cannot save what is already lost, as we see Victor finally defeating the molecule men. Even in this triumphant moment, you think of all the things that are gone, but still, more importantly, all the things that you have left to lose. Victor desperately calls out for Valeria. She tells him that she's arrived, that she's going into the machine. Once there, she figures out quickly what she must do. Machine is active. There is no cutting it off, but there is a way to overload it. With her last words, she wants her Uncle Doom to know something, that he always was good to her, he always protected her, and she loved him for it. As Galactus watches on in fear as he sees his device explode in front of him, Doom knows that even the things that you so desperately cling on to, one day will be taken from you as well. As we see him gathering all of his power, he thinks to himself that you will look back on the moments that you lived. You will judge yourself on whether or not you did so adequately. This is not nihilism, it's certainty. Life ends for all of us, so accept it with a head held high. Refusing to be judged by whatever gods remain in your universe, unscarred by whatever sins lie in your past, when all that remains is one final moment of defiance. Embrace doom and laugh in its face.